the biggest storyline is 97. I mean, just absolutely taking the team and putting it on his back. And certainly when you watch him play the way he has the last two games, I mean, everybody in Edmonton has had the great opportunity to watch Connor McDavid play since he entered the league. He's looking unstoppable right now. I know that Paul Maurice said after the game, we're not deflated. Bill Zito's throwing water bottles. And if Connor McDavid is truly unstoppable, the Florida Panthers are in Alligator Alley because the alligators are nipping at their heels, coming to bite their knees, and Connor McDavid is leading the charge. Because if they don't find an answer for Connor McDavid, there's going to be more water bottles thrown, and the Panthers are going to go down in history like the 1942 Detroit Red Wings.
It's a funny series, Craig, because I think you look back at the first couple of games and say, and then looking at numbers and say the Oilers, puck luck here or there or certain things, but it seems like Vancouver, Dallas in this series, they've taken a little time to figure out the series. They grow into it. And I find it kind of funny that Bobrovsky starting the series as he did with the numbers he had. We talk about Barkov and underrated all this. Yeah, through the first three. But now it just seems to have turned on its head. Stuart Skinner now the story in net. Bobrovsky's save percentage plummeting. And Connor McDavid, as you just mentioned, rightfully so, back-to-back 4-point nights. He's 6 away now from the top. Is this it? Like, is this kind of the fairy tale? The season it's been, backs against the wall, all of this. Connor with his short quips post-game, dragging them back. Like, it just seems to me that this is the final chapter in quite a story written, that Connor McDavid takes this team, albeit injured, banged up, a goaltender that's been maligned, but finding his game, and he's the one to take them over the line. That's kind of the feeling right now, is it not?
I agree with you, Eric. I think everything you just expressed is right there. I think we're watching it, and it's one thing for a player to be as great as Connor McDavid is, and it's one thing to get to the Stanley Cup Final. Wayne Gretzky famously said there's 3 seasons: there's the regular season, there's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Stanley Cup Final. And when Connor McDavid, we know that he's got an unbelievable skill set. But you're watching him now play at a level where he goes, wait a sec, I'm in the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm taking it over. In 1991, our team with the Minnesota North Stars went to the Stanley Cup Final, and it was magical. It wasn't anything like this. We weren't a very good team, but we got on a great run. We were up 2-1, Game 4 on home ice against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Mayor Lemieux just took the series over. He just said, the cup is something I need to get my hands on. And watching Connor McDavid right now, it looks eerily the same. And that's why I say okay, great. You can go, okay, how do we get the Stuart Skinner? How do we get our penalty kill a little bit better? I'm talking about the Florida Panthers. How does Bobrovsky find? If they don't find a way to stop Connor McDavid, they're not going to win the series. And right now, he looks unstoppable. Stuart Skinner. I think what we should do is go get the Stuart Skinner playlist and play it up in the next, because and maybe we can have there should be video of him bopping to the beat, and just everything. I mean, it's fantastic to watch somebody in a Stanley Cup Final look so relaxed and look like he's really enjoying it. And Zach Hyman post game talking about Connor doing Connor things, and I think that when you watch a team, and as you pointed out, Eric, it looked bleak. It didn't look bleak. It was bleak at the beginning of the season. And then they just found a way. And Chris Knobloch saying that, been around teams and heard lots of teams say they have belief. He goes, this team's belief is real. And when they were down 3-0, he talked about that. And the Florida Panthers right now, they look really vulnerable. They look a little bit slower too, Eric. Yeah. They look a little slower in the play, and certainly that's something that maybe the extra day helps them right now. But the Oilers certainly have found their mojo.
Well, and I don't want to keep harping on Connor McDavid, but I'm sorry, it's the talk of the town. It's the talk of the series. It's the talk of the NHL. Just how magnificent he has begun to play in this series. You look, probably going to end up going to second place all time in playoff points. Only player in NHL history with consecutive 4-point games. But it didn't start out like that. It didn't start like that in this series in particular. It didn't start out like that. It didn't start out like that for the third line. What do you think has changed? I mean, all of a sudden, this team looks like a totally different team. I mean, at game one, I believe the Oilers should have won that. I always say they got bobbed. But game 2 and 3 did not have the effort and the compete level that they certainly have shown recently. What do you think has changed, Craig? What's allowed them to click into something and figure this out and start getting to Bobrovsky and playing more unified hockey?
Yeah, I love the word unified. And one of the things I think that everybody knows about the Florida Panthers is how hard they forecheck and how effective that becomes. In the first 2 periods of game 1, I thought the Oilers did an outstanding job of not allowing them to get the forecheck going. They stretched the ice. They had a lot of great opportunities, as you point out, and they couldn't finish. Then Florida found their game. Florida was able to find their forechecking game and really start to zero in and make sure that the Edmonton Oilers they literally couldn't get running. Ken Hitchcock said to EJ Raddick, who works for the NHL Network, Ken Hitchcock made this comment to him after game 4. He said, "The horses are out of the barn." And, that was only one win. And I know Ken very well. It's 25 years since our Dallas Stars won the Cup in 1999. It's very, very interesting when he said that. Because you go, it's one game, 8 goals, but the horses are out of the barn. He's right. And by that, they're skating. They're able to stretch the ice. They're backing off the Florida Panthers. Look at the McDavid goal in game 5. I mean, Evan Bouchard just says, "I'm not here to make a play. I'm here to get the puck going." Warren Fogle moves, skates, makes a great play on the puck. McDavid comes in just like that. It's 3-1. And, to 3-0. And to me, that is what they've done really well. They moving the puck quickly out of their zone, and they're taking control of the neutral zone. So now that gets their speed. That's number 1. Number 2, and Chris Knobloch has done this since the day he started coaching with the team. He has found a way to put players in positions where they can have success, and just as importantly, have value to the team and feel valued. Is there any better example? I mean, Connor Brown's been the catalyst for the last two first goals of the game. The third line has started game 4 and started game 5. Now, when a coach says, "You're the line that I want to go out there and establish our game. We want you to get us moving here," and they have. So now third line is moving. Fourth line doesn't have to play as much. Getting the defense switched around a little bit in terms of finding some rhythm. There's a lot of things that have gone right for them, but if you don't beat the forecheck and you can't get control of the neutral zone, you're not going to be able to have the success they had. But they've done that. The penalty killing is outstanding, as we've seen in back-to-back games with shorthanded goals. Again, you got to find a way to solve your opponent. And the Edmonton Oilers have found a way to take away a significant part of the Florida Panthers game. That's the key to success.
Well, who would have thought that we'd be, sitting here on June 20th, applauding Connor Brown as the Oilers go deep into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Craig, you have a vote. You have a say in the Conn Smythe voting. Is this, at the start of this series, you could say, well, this is Bobrovsky's to lose, and I think he's now lost it. Between a player like Barkov, who was shutting down Connor essentially, but is there? I mean, win or lose, and I know this is irrelevant if it isn't a loss to Connor, anyways. But is he running away with the Conn Smythe at this time?
My understanding is the engraving has already begun. It begins with CONN. And, he'll be the first player in the history of the Conn Smythe Trophy to be handed the Conn Smythe Trophy with his name already on it. It's his trophy. And to me, win or lose, it's his trophy. He has shown that he's been the most valuable player in the playoffs. And we look at, I mean, he's in rarefied air with the points with Gretzky and Lemieux. But Gretzky and Lemieux never have had to do what Connor McDavid is doing. and that's drag a team back from 3-0 down and show unequivocally that there is a path to a championship. That's what he's shown. And as great as Wayne and Mario are, this is different. This is nothing to take away from Wayne and Mario's brilliance and everything they did. But it's a different type of brilliance. It's a different type of excellence that Connor McDavid has shown. And that's what the Conn Smythe Trophy is for. And to me, it's over. The Conn Smythe Trophy conversation is over. It's Connor McDavid's.
Craig Button joining us from TSN, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. It is the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. I don't want to keep you too long here, Craig. A few things happening also around the league yesterday off the ice and some deals. And we just want to get your thoughts, maybe a three-pronger here from you. The Capitals acquiring Pierre-Luc Dubois from the Kings. Darcy Kemper goes to L.A. The Devils acquiring Jacob Markstrom from the Flames. Defenseman Kevin Ball and a first-rounder in 2025 back to Calgary. And then finally, I want to get your thoughts as well on the Barclay Goodrow waiver claim, Rangers Sharks thing. Doesn't seem like too good of a situation there for Goudreau. Rumors of his no trade list in San Jose on that, but he's a Shark again. So your thoughts on those three transactions going on yesterday?
Okay, well, I mean, Markstrom, I don't think anybody is surprised that Jacob Markstrom moved. I don't think even less so that he moved to the New Jersey Devils. Jacob had a full no-move clause. So he was in the driver's seat. And certainly Craig Conroy was not going to just move him for nothing. But for the New Jersey Devils, getting Jacob Markstrom significant. Goaltending derailed them last year. And certainly it was something that wasn't addressed. Well, Tom Fitzgerald has addressed it now. And it feels to me like the Calgary Flames are working towards trying to be competitive, but trying to be in a place when the new building opens in 2028 where they can be a better team. All the draft picks they're getting, everything they're doing, that's what it feels like to me. Pierre-Luc Dubois, big trade last year from Winnipeg to the LA Kings. Rob Blake signs him to a big long-term contract, and Pierre-Luc Dubois was abysmal this year for the LA Kings. I love the fact that Rob Blake says, hey, wait a sec. It didn't work here. And everybody goes, well, you know what? And I heard Pierre-Luc Dubois say my first year in Winnipeg wasn't great, and you come back. And Rob says, I'm not taking a chance there. There's no way. There's 7 more years at this. I don't see a path for you to be successful here. We need to be successful. Cut your losses, move along, and get a goaltender that has shown that he can play very well behind a very good defensive team, because goaltending wasn't very good. Goal scoring wasn't great. Goaltending let him down near the end. And I think addressing that with Darcy Kemper at better dollars and alleviating yourself was really, really great, strong work by Rob Blake. The Barclay Goodrow scenario, players are going to get upset at different points in time. He didn't have a no-move clause.
Yep.
So he didn't have a no-move clause. So Chris Drury couldn't trade him maybe to a place that wanted him, so he put him on waivers. And that's just the business, straightforward. Barclay Goodrow can be upset. And I understand it. Don't get me wrong. When I was in Calgary, we ended up getting Igor Kravchuk under a very similar situation. And Igor is somebody that I have. He's a friend. He's somebody that came into our group and was just such a valuable person and player for us. And I think that Mike Greer will try to do the same thing with Barclay Goodrow. They know him. He played in San Jose, but the bottom line is, this is part of the business, and there's parts of the business that make players unhappy, and there's parts of the business to make teams unhappy. This is a scenario where Christopher said, hey, we got to get some cap space. That was his path.
Yeah, or play yourself into the conversation too. It's down to the player to ultimately make yourself worthwhile, right?
Yeah.
I got to ask you one last thing here, Craig. We saw the memes coming out, and obviously the video footage of one Bill Zito throwing a unidentified bottle of water in the press box or in the owner's suite or managers, whatever you want to call it. What's the craziest thing you threw during your tenure and frustrations of being in the NHL?
Give us a top 10.
Yeah, give us some objects you've thrown.
Okay. Listen, I never threw anything. Listen, back when I was a manager and everything, the cameras weren't on you the way they were now. But there is something out there. You might be able to find it. I had these bottom teeth knocked out, and I was in the process of getting an implant, and so I had a flipper. And one time they caught me the flipper. I was like Matthew Tkachuk before Matthew. mouthpiece, with the mouth guard. I had the flipper flipping around and everything, and it ended up coming across. And my girls were young at the time, and they and their friends thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever seen.
A toothless Craig Button. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, in more ways than one, Jay.
Craig, we'll leave it at that. Appreciate your time as always, man, and filling in this morning. Enjoy tomorrow, Game 6, and we'll talk next week.